The deep space research station called Raven 9 floated quietly between cold stars. It was a lonely place, far from any busy trade route. Only a few researchers lived there, and most days were slow and silent. But on this day, something strange was about to break the silence. Cora, an alien scientist with soft blue skin and bright silver eyes, sat alone in the observation room. She studied energy readings from a distant asteroid belt. It was simple work, nothing dangerous. Cora liked peace. She liked calm. She never wanted trouble. But trouble came anyway. As she typed her notes, the lights flickered once. Then again. Then a sharp, broken sound hit her ears, a sound she had never heard before. Beep, crack, beep. It was a distress signal. Cora frowned and tapped her screen. The signal was weak, full of static. But one small part of the message came through clearly, and when Cora heard it, her heart froze. Human children taken, help. Cora blinked hard. Human children? That was impossible. No one on Raven 9 had anything to do with humans. The station was only for research, mining scans, and simple science. Why would a message like this come here? The signal repeated, even more broken this time. Children taken, please, humans. Cora's silver eyes widened. She stood up slowly, not breathing for a moment. Humans were known across the galaxy for one thing: their anger when their young were threatened. Everyone had heard the stories. If a human child was harmed, humans would chase enemies across star systems. Even powerful alien empires feared them. Cora felt a cold fear crawl up her spine. She replayed the message again and again, but the same broken words came through. She needed answers. She needed to know who sent this message, and who the kidnappers were. She opened the station's communication logs, searching for the source. The signal came from inside their own communication network. That meant someone had connected a hidden channel to Raven 9. But who? The logs showed a locked file, one she had never seen before. It required high-level access she did not have. Someone in command had created it. Cora hesitated. She knew opening it was against rules. It could get her removed from the station. But her fear for the human children pushed her forward. She hacked into the file. The moment it opened, Cora's breath caught in her throat. Hundreds of images filled the screen. Pictures of children, human children. Some laughing in playgrounds. Some walking in markets. Others sitting in hover cars with their parents. And then the disappearances. One by one the images changed. The children were shown vanishing, pulled away, taken by someone hidden in shadow. The kidnappings happened on different planets, across different systems. Months apart. All covered up. All hidden. Cora's body trembled. She whispered to herself, Why would anyone take human children? She scrolled deeper. A second file opened. Maps showing each kidnapping location. Dots marked different planets. When all dots connected, they formed a path. A route. A trail. And the final destination was Raven 9. Her station. Cora stepped back from the screen, feeling her heart slam in her chest. That meant the kidnappers were coming here. Maybe they had already been here. Maybe they were hiding on the station right now. Suddenly, the station lights flickered again. This time longer. Darker. Cora's breath shook. She felt like someone was watching her. The silence in the room grew heavy. She turned to check the station window, and froze once more. A ship was approaching. Not a normal ship. Not a trader. Not a miner. This ship was dark with sharp angles like blades. It had no ID code, no registration, nothing. It moved like a predator. Cora whispered, No, this cannot be real. The dark ship stopped right outside the station, floating silently like a shadow waiting to strike. Cora felt her hands grow cold. Her instinct screamed at her to run. She rushed back to the screen and started copying all the hidden files, all the maps, all the images into her personal drive. She did not know why. She only knew she had to protect this information. She had to show it to someone. Maybe even to the humans. The station alarms suddenly beeped. Unknown vessel docked. Prepare for boarding. Cora's heart jumped. They were coming inside. She pulled the data drive out and slipped it into her suit. Her legs felt weak, but she forced herself to move. She needed to hide. She needed to stay quiet. Footsteps echoed from the hallway, slow metallic steps. Then voices. Not friendly voices. We arrived tonight, one voice said. The last of the collection must be taken. Cora felt her blood turn to ice. The humans will discover soon, another voice said. It does not matter, the first replied. By then it will be too late. Cora covered her mouth to stop her breath from making a sound. Her heart beat loudly in her ears. She pressed herself against the wall, trembling. If they found her, they would kill her. She knew that now. And somewhere in the darkness of the hallway, the heavy footsteps grew closer. The shadow of a tall armored figure passed by the door as the lights flickered again. Cora shut her eyes and prayed they would not hear her. And far away, deep in the void of space, the faint distress message repeated again. Human children. Taken. Help. The horror was only beginning. Cora waited in silence as the strange armored figures moved farther down the hallway. Their footsteps were slow but heavy, like they were not afraid of anything. The moment their voices faded, Cora finally let out a small breath she had been holding for too long. Her hands still shook. Her chest felt tight. She knew the danger was not gone. It was only hidden for a moment. She stepped back to the computer screen and tried to calm herself. She needed to think. She needed to understand what was really happening on Raven 9. The hidden maps, the missing human children, the dark ship. None of this could be an accident. Someone planned this. Someone powerful. Cora opened another file she had copied to her drive. She scanned each line, searching for clues. One file showed time logs, dates and times when the kidnappings happened. Another file showed transporter activity, and that shocked her more. The kidnappers had used Raven 9's teleport pads several times in the last 3 months. No one told her. No one told any of the regular researchers. That meant the high command of the station was hiding the truth. Cora whispered softly. Why would Raven 9 be part of this? Why use this place? As she studied the maps again, something new caught her eye. A pattern she did not notice before. The route the kidnappers used was not random. The dots formed a path like a trail, yes, but the trail looked like a direct travel route toward human space. Every kidnapping moved closer and closer to Earth territory. And now the path ended at Raven 9. Cora's heart tightened again. If this station is the last point, she murmured, then the next target might be humans. She imagined human ships arriving, finding the truth, and then taking revenge. Humans never forgave anyone who harmed their young. The galaxy told many stories about it. Entire fleets disappeared after hurting human children. Cora swallowed hard. If humans learned that her station was involved, even secretly, they would attack. They would destroy Raven 9 without mercy. She had to warn them. She had to tell the truth before the kidnappers escaped. She turned to the communication console. Her fingers hovered above the send button. Then she stopped. The dark ship outside had connected itself directly to the station. She saw the network alert now. External override active. The kidnappers had full control. Cora bit her lip. If she sent a message now, they would trace it instantly. They would come straight for her. She turned off the console and looked around the room. She had to find a safe place to hide the data. If she lost the drive, she would lose everything. The proof, the maps, the evidence of the kidnappers, and the truth that could save human lives. She opened a small metal panel under the desk. Behind it was a maintenance hole filled with wires. She pushed the drive deep inside, hiding it in a narrow gap. She left only a thin marker on top, a small piece of cloth from her suit. It would help her find it later. Just then, the station lights flickered again. The whole room became dark for 2 long seconds. Cora froze. When the lights returned, a message flashed across every screen in the room. Unauthorized file access detected. Cora's blood went cold. They knew. They knew someone saw the files. She dropped to the floor and crawled behind a large storage box just before the door hissed open. 2 armored figures walked in, scanning the room with glowing red visors. Their armor was black, smooth, and completely silent when they moved. One of them spoke with a deep electronic voice. The files were opened here. The other responded, "Search the room. The witness is close." Cora held her breath and pressed herself against the cold metal. She prayed they wouldn't hear the pounding of her heart. The armored aliens began checking every corner. They opened drawers, moved equipment, scanned walls. Their red lights passed inches from Cora's face. She squeezed her eyes shut. "Nothing," the first one said. "She is hiding." "She cannot escape," the second replied. The 2 walked toward the hallway and left. But the door stayed open. It was a trap. They wanted her to run. Cora stayed still for a full minute, listening. When she was sure they were gone, she slowly crawled out and stood up. She wiped sweat from her forehead and took a deep breath. She had to move. She had to get off the station. She rushed into the hallway, keeping her steps light. She checked around each corner. Every sound made her jump. Every shadow seemed alive. She reached the central map room, the place where the entire station layout was displayed. She needed to find a safe passage. Maybe an escape pod. Maybe a maintenance tunnel. But when she opened the door, what she saw made her heart drop. The central map room was already open. Someone was inside. The large holographic map glowed in the center. And standing before it were the same 3 armored aliens from before. They were looking at the map of human space, the same one Cora studied. One of them pointed at a bright star. Earth. The humans will not expect us there, he said. Cora stepped back slowly, trying not to make a sound. But her foot tapped a loose metal plate. Clink. The sound echoed across the room. The 3 armored aliens turned their heads instantly. Red visors locked on her position. Cora's heart stopped. One of them spoke in a cold voice. There she is. And Cora knew. They would not let her leave alive. Cora did not think, she just ran. The moment the armored aliens turned toward her, she spun around and sprinted down the hallway. Her feet hit the metal floor hard, echoing through the station. She knew they would hear it. She knew they would come after her. Behind her, a deep voice shouted. Stop her. Cora didn't stop. She didn't even look back. She followed the narrow corridor that curved around the main deck. The lights flickered above her as if the station itself was nervous. Her heart pounded painfully. She felt like every breath might be her last. The station alarms suddenly changed tone. They were no longer normal alerts. Now they said, unauthorized personnel detected. Lockdown activated. The doors in front of her began to slide shut, one after another, sealing sections of the station. Cora gasped, No, 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 please. She pushed herself faster, squeezing through the second door just before it sealed. The metal slammed shut right behind her, nearly hitting her back. But she wasn't safe. A loud metallic crash came from behind the sealed door. The armored aliens were trying to break through. They were strong. They wouldn't stop. Cora hurried down the hallway until she reached the old observation deck. This area was rarely used and half of it was dark. She slipped inside and hid behind a large console, breathing quietly. For a moment she listened. Silence. Then the station cameras in the room flickered on. A red recording light blinked at her. She froze. Someone was watching. The screen on the wall turned on suddenly, and the face of the station commander appeared. Commander Vesk, a tall alien with dark green skin and sharp eyes. He looked calm, almost too calm. Cora, he said in a cold voice, you should not be running. Cora felt her hands turn icy. She whispered, Commander, why are you with them? Why is this happening? Commander Vesk stared at her through the screen, unblinking. You were not meant to see the files, he said. This operation is classified. Cora shook her head slowly. Classified? Commander, those were children. Human children. Why would we do something so horrible? Vesk sighed like she was a small child who didn't understand. You do not understand the bigger picture, Cora. The humans are expanding too fast. Their numbers grow every year. Their strength increases. Soon the galaxy will belong only to them. Cora's voice trembled. That does not give us the right to take their young. The commander leaned closer to the camera. If we weaken humans now, we prevent their future domination. This is strategic, logical, necessary. Cora felt sick. He sounded like he was explaining simple math, not the kidnapping of innocent children. Commander, this is wrong, she whispered. Vesk blinked once. Wrong or right does not matter. What matters is survival. Humans protect their children more fiercely than any species in this galaxy. So if their young vanish, humans will panic. They will turn inward. They will stop expanding. It gives us time. Cora stared at the screen in horror. You started this war, before humans even knew about it. The commander's expression hardened. You will remain silent, Cora. Or you will be removed. Removed. She knew what that meant. She backed away from the console as the screen shut off. Moments later, the door of the observation deck slid open. The 3 armored aliens stepped inside. Their red visors swept across the dark room, scanning every shadow. Cora stayed low, pressing herself even deeper behind the console. She had only seconds before they found her. One of the armored aliens spoke. She cannot escape the station. The lockdown is active. Another replied. Search the room. The commander wants her alive. Cora's breath caught. Alive? What? What did they want to do to her? She crawled silently under the console and reached a small maintenance hatch. Her hands moved quickly, twisting the panel. The metal plate came loose. She slipped inside the dark tunnel just as a beam of red light swept across the floor where she had been. The armored aliens paused. She was here, one of them said. Find her, another growled. Cora began crawling through the narrow maintenance tunnel. The air smelled of dust and old metal. She pushed forward on her elbows, hearing the muffled footsteps of the aliens searching above her. Her mind raced. She had proof of what was happening. She had seen the maps. She knew the commander was part of the kidnappings. She had no one to trust except maybe the humans. But how could she contact them without getting caught? The kidnappers controlled the station network. The commander watched every move. As she crawled, a small screen inside the tunnel flickered on. It showed security camera footage. Cora saw the armored aliens splitting up, moving methodically across the station. They checked every room, every corner, every hall. She was being hunted. She reached a junction in the tunnel and turned left, heading toward the lower cargo bay. It was dark, abandoned, and rarely used. If she could reach it, she might find an old escape pod, maybe one that wasn't under the commander's control. Behind her, something clanged inside the tunnel. Cora froze. A metallic voice echoed inside the narrow space, deeper and colder than anything she had heard before. "We know where you are." Her pulse exploded. The aliens had found the maintenance hatch. They were coming. She forced her tired arms to move faster, scraping her elbows on the metal floor. The tunnel grew even narrower. Sparks flew behind her as something cut through the hatch. Cora looked back. A red glow grew brighter. The armored aliens were slicing their way into the tunnel. She pushed herself forward desperately until she finally saw a faint light at the end of the tunnel, the exit into the cargo bay. For a moment, hope filled her. But she did not know that the cargo bay held another secret. One even darker than the files she had seen. And she was heading straight toward it. Cora slid out of the narrow maintenance tunnel and dropped into the lower cargo bay. Her knees hit the floor hard, but she didn't stop. She stood up quickly and looked around. The cargo bay was dark, almost completely silent. Large metal crates were stacked like giant shadows. Old equipment lay scattered on the floor. This part of the station had not been used in months, maybe years. Perfect for hiding something. Perfect for hiding many things. Cora took a cautious step deeper into the darkness. Her heart still beat fast from the chase, but now a new fear slowly grew inside her. Something felt wrong here. The air was colder, heavy, like the room itself was holding a secret. She whispered to herself, "Just find a pod. Get out. Tell the humans." But as she moved between the crates, she noticed something strange on the floor, a thin line of glowing blue dust. The same type used for tracking cargo shipments. But this dust was smeared as if someone had walked through it. And the footprints were small. Very small. Cora knelt down and touched the glowing dust. Her stomach twisted. These footprints, they're too small for adults. She followed the tiny trail around the corner of a stack of crates. What she found there made her freeze. On the far wall of the cargo bay was a large metal door, one she had never seen before. It wasn't on any map. It wasn't listed in any station records. And on the door was a symbol she recognized from the secret files. A symbol used to mark the locations of the kidnapped human children. Cora stepped closer, her hands trembling. She pressed the control panel. To her surprise, the door slid open silently. Inside was a long, narrow room filled with a faint, icy blue light. The sound of soft humming echoed from the walls. Cora stepped inside and the door closed behind her with a soft click. Her breath caught in her throat. Rows of stasis pods lined the room, small pods sized for children. Most were empty, their glass covers fogged from recent use. Some still had thin blankets inside, tiny shoes or small toys left behind. Cora's hand covered her mouth. This is where they kept them," she whispered. "This is where the children were held." Her eyes burned with fear and anger. She slowly walked down the line of pods, touching one gently with her fingertips. It was still cold. The kidnappers had used Raven 9 as a storage point. For months. Maybe longer. Cora felt tears sting her eyes. How can they do this? How can they hurt children? She reached the end of the room where one last pod sat in the corner. This one was different. The frost had not cleared. Inside was a small blanket but no child. Just a single piece of white paper lying on the bed. Cora opened the pod and picked up the paper. It had human writing on it, shaky, scared handwriting. It said, "If anyone finds this, tell the humans. They took us from home. They said we won't see our families again." Cora's body went cold. This wasn't just a secret operation. This was cruelty. This was a crime. Before she could react, a voice came from behind her. "Cora." She spun around. Commander Vesk stood in the doorway, flanked by the 3 armored aliens. The red glow of their visors lit the dark room. Cora stepped backward, bumping into one of the stasis pods. Vesk looked calm as always, as if he were walking into a meeting, not into a room filled with evidence of kidnapping. "I told you not to run," he said quietly. "But you made things difficult for all of us." Cora's voice shook. "Commander, how could you do this? These are children. Innocent children." Vesk sighed. "You still do not understand. Humans are dangerous. Their young grow fast. Their numbers spread across the galaxy. Every day they build more ships, more colonies. If we do not stop them now, our species will disappear." Cora shook her head. "There must be another way. Not this. Not hurting children." The commander's eyes narrowed. "Survival is never gentle. And these children are tools. Their loss weakens humans. Makes them afraid." Cora felt sick. "You're starting a war." "A necessary war," Vesk said. "And you, Cora, have become a problem." He motioned to the armored aliens. "Take her." The armored figures stepped forward. Their heavy boots echoed across the floor. Cora backed into the corner, her mind racing. She had no weapon. No way to escape. No time. The aliens reached for her. But the station suddenly shook violently, throwing everyone off balance. The lights flashed red. An alarm screamed through the speakers. "Unauthorized ship detected. Human military vessel approaching." Cora's eyes widened. The humans had arrived. Commander Vesk's calm expression finally cracked. "No, not now. They should not be here yet." Cora felt a spark of hope. The humans must have received her weak message. Or maybe they traced the distress signal. But one thing was clear. They were coming for their children. And they would not stop. The armored aliens regrouped quickly. Vesk pointed at Cora. "Take her to the control room. We cannot let her speak to the humans." The aliens moved toward her again. Cora stepped backward, knowing this was her last chance. If she was captured now, everything would end. The station shook again, harder this time. A loud explosion echoed through the metal walls. The humans were fighting their way in. Cora felt her blood burn with a new strength. She whispered to herself, "I must survive. I must tell them the truth." And she ran deeper into the stasis room, toward the emergency vent hidden in the back wall. Behind her, the armored aliens gave chase. The real war had just begun. Cora crawled into the narrow emergency vent just as the armored aliens rushed through the stasis room. Their heavy boots shook the floor, and their red visors glowed in the darkness like angry eyes searching for her. She moved fast, pushing herself forward with her hands and knees. The vent was tight and cold, and every scrape of metal against her skin made her wince. But she didn't stop. She couldn't. Behind her, the metal vent door ripped open with a loud screech. A metallic voice echoed into the tunnel. "She is in the vents. Pursue her." Cora's heart throbbed painfully. She pushed herself faster. The vent sloped downward, leading toward the engineering level. That area had more hiding places, and maybe a communication panel she could use. But the vent echoed with new sounds, metal claws gripping the inside walls. They had sent a drone after her. A hunting drone. Cora swallowed hard. She could hear it crawling behind her, scraping the metal sides with sharp legs. It moved faster than she did. Much faster. She forced her arms to move faster, ignoring the shooting pain. The vent ahead split into two paths. Left led toward the reactor. Right led toward maintenance rooms. She didn't have time to think. She turned right. The drone followed instantly, its red scanning light flashing behind her. Cora reached the end of the vent and kicked open the small exit hatch. She dropped into a dusty maintenance room filled with pipes, old tools, and broken parts. The air was warmer here, and the sound of the station's engines echoed through the walls. She hurried to close the vent hatch, but before she could, the drone burst through with a metallic clang. Its legs clicked rapidly across the floor as it aimed its red scanner at her. Cora grabbed the nearest thing she could find, a long metal wrench, and swung it hard. The wrench hit the drone's sensor with a loud crack. Sparks flew and the drone staggered backward, its legs twitching. Cora swung again. This time the drone collapsed, legs folding under its body. She dropped the wrench, breathing hard. Her arms shook, not from the fight, but from fear and exhaustion. She took a deep breath and whispered, "Keep moving. Don't stop." She rushed out of the room and into a narrow hallway filled with steam pipes. The entire station shook again as the human ship outside fired another blast. The metal walls trembled. Dust fell from the ceiling. Cora knew time was running out, not just for her but for everyone on Raven 9. The humans were coming. They would not show mercy when they discovered the truth. She ran down the hallway until she reached the engineering center. The door was half open, hanging crookedly from its frame. Someone had forced their way in recently. When she entered, she saw the engineering room was empty. Tools and panels were scattered everywhere. Several screens showed warning symbols: loss of power, damaged hull, blocked network routes. Cora rushed to the communication console. This one was old and disconnected from the main network. That meant the commander might not control it. She tapped the screen. It flickered. Then it turned on. A weak communication channel opened. Static buzzed through the speakers. Cora leaned close to the mic and spoke softly. "This is Cora of Raven 9. Humans, your children. Taken. We have proof. Please hear me?" All she got was static. She tried again, her voice shaking. "Human ship, you are outside the station. Please? I have information. They took the children." Suddenly the screen went dark. Cora gasped. No, please turn back on." A shadow fell across the doorway. She turned slowly. One of the armored aliens stood there, blocking the exit. Its red visor glowed bright, reflecting off the broken consoles. "Cora," it said in a deep mechanical voice, "you should not have come here." Cora backed away until her back hit a control panel. She searched desperately for something, anything she could use as a weapon. The alien stepped forward. "Commander Vesk wants you alive. Do not resist." Cora's eyes darted to a large control valve behind the alien. It controlled pressure in the steam lines. If she turned it quickly, she might cause a burst. But it was too far. And the alien was too fast. It reached for her, metal fingers clicking. Cora whispered, "I'm sorry, but I can't let you take me." As the alien grabbed her arm, she slammed her elbow into a small emergency lever beside her. It wasn't the valve, but it was enough. A loud alarm sounded and steam burst from the pipes above. A cloud of burning hot vapor shot down between Cora and the alien. The creature recoiled, its visor fogging. It stumbled back, confused. Cora took the chance and ran. She sprinted through the side door into another hallway. This one led to the docking bay. Maybe she could find a maintenance shuttle there, something small enough to launch without permission. The station shook again, even harder this time. She almost fell. Human voices echoed in the distance. Cora stumbled to a stop. Voices. Actual human voices. She couldn't believe it. The humans were boarding the station. She felt hope rise inside her, but also fear. If the humans found her, an alien on a station full of kidnapped children, they might think she was guilty too. She stepped slowly toward the sound of boots and shouts. Through the smoke and flashing warning lights, she saw the silhouette of human soldiers entering the hallway, weapons raised. But behind her, she heard another sound. The armored aliens closing in. She was caught in the middle. Cora whispered to herself, "Please, someone trust me." And the hallway filled with smoke, gunfire, and shadows as both sides collided. Smoke filled the long hallway as Cora froze between two deadly forces. In front of her, human soldiers in black armor entering the station with bright flashlights and heavy rifles. Behind her, the armored aliens with glowing red visors moving in fast formation. Cora's chest tightened. She knew one thing. If either side thought she was the enemy, she would die in seconds. A human soldier shouted through the smoke, "Identify yourself. Hands where we can see them." Cora slowly raised her hands. Her voice trembled. "I'm not your enemy. Please listen." But before she could finish, a red laser beam shot over her head. The armored aliens had opened fire. The humans reacted instantly, diving behind metal crates as the hallway erupted with gunfire. The bright flashes lit up the smoke like lightning. Cora pressed herself against the wall, heart hammering. She couldn't run forward. She couldn't run back. She was trapped. A human voice yelled, "Pull her out of the line of fire." Footsteps rushed toward her. A strong arm grabbed her and pulled her behind a pile of broken equipment. Cora gasped as a human soldier, helmet cracked from earlier fighting, crouched beside her. He looked at her with narrowed eyes. "You, alien, what are you doing here?" Cora pointed toward the red-visored attackers. "They kidnapped your children. I discovered the truth. I escaped. I tried to warn you." The soldier blinked in shock. "What did you say?" But there was no time to explain. 3 armored aliens charged forward. Human soldiers responded with a storm of bullets. Cora shouted, "We have to move. They won't stop until I'm taken." The soldier nodded quickly. "Come with me. Stay low." He guided Cora through the chaos as more humans joined the fight. The hallway flashed with red and white lights from gunfire and alarms. The alien soldiers advanced like machines, firing without hesitation. One shot blasted the wall near Cora's head, showering her with sparks. She stumbled, but the human soldier caught her arm and pulled her forward. They reached a side corridor and ran inside. The noise behind them slowly faded. Only then did the soldier finally speak again. "I'm Sergeant Kane," he said, breathing heavily. "Start talking." Cora tried to catch her breath. "My name is Cora. I used to work in the research wing. I found the hidden chambers, your children, taken for experiments." Kane's eyes widened behind his cracked visor. "You're telling the truth?" Cora nodded desperately. "Yes. I saw one of them awake. She was terrified. They were studying human intelligence, human memories. They wanted to use your children to create the perfect mind, one they can control." Kane clenched his jaw so hard Cora heard his teeth grind. "My daughter is missing," he whispered. "If your story is true, she might be here." Cora placed a gentle hand on his arm. "I promise you, I will help you find her." But before Kane could reply, a loud metallic roar echoed through the corridor. The heavy footsteps were back. A larger armored alien appeared at the far end. This one was twice the size of the others, with thick armor plates and glowing blue symbols. It carried a massive staff crackling with energy. Cora whispered in fear. "That's the Enforcer. Commander Vesk's guardian." Kane raised his rifle. "Run." They sprinted down the corridor as the Enforcer charged, smashing through pipework and sending debris everywhere. The floor shook under its weight. Cora and Kane turned a corner just as the Enforcer's staff slammed into the wall behind them, blasting it open with a burst of blue electricity. Cora shouted, "This way, the hangar." Kane followed her as they ran through a large doorway into the main docking bay. The huge room was filled with smoke, fire, and damaged ships. Human soldiers and alien guards fought everywhere. Kane looked around desperately. "We can't stay here." Cora grabbed his wrist. "There is a small maintenance shuttle on the far side. If we reach it, we can move across the station faster. Maybe reach the child chambers again." Kane nodded. "Lead the way." They sprinted across the hangar floor. Laser blasts ricocheted off metal crates. Engines sparked. Bodies, human and alien, lay scattered from earlier battle. They reached the small shuttle, its white paint burned but still functional. Cora quickly opened the side hatch. As they climbed inside, Kane turned back and fired at a rushing alien soldier, dropping him instantly. Cora shouted, "Close the hatch." Kane slammed it shut and locked it. Cora started the engine. The shuttle hummed weakly. "Come on, please start," she whispered. The Enforcer's roar echoed from outside. Kane looked at the door. "It's coming." Cora slammed her hand on the ignition. The shuttle's engine burst to life. Kane strapped in. "Cora, go." She lifted the controls and the shuttle shot forward, rising off the hangar floor just as the Enforcer smashed through the doors, its glowing staff raised. Cora steered the small shuttle through the bay doors and into the station's dark tunnel system. Behind them, the Enforcer's roar echoed through the metal walls. Cora whispered to herself, "We must reach the children, before it's too late." The maintenance shuttle rushed through the narrow tunnels of Raven 9, its small engines shaking from overuse. Cora kept both hands tight on the controls, her eyes fixed on the glowing route map in front of her. Sergeant Kane sat beside her, rifle ready, jaw tight with fear and determination. Kane leaned forward. "Cora, how far until we reach the children?" Cora swallowed hard. "Just 2 tunnels left. But the Enforcer will not stop. It will break through anything to reach us." As if answering her words, a deep metallic roar echoed through the tunnel walls. The sound vibrated through the shuttle, making the metal panels shake. Kane tightened his grip on his weapon. "It's close." Cora didn't reply. She focused on flying. She had never felt this much pressure in her life. She wasn't thinking about herself anymore. She was thinking about the children. The ones she saw awake. The fear in the girl's eyes. The innocence of all the others taken. She would not let them suffer any longer. The shuttle turned sharply left, entering a dimly lit tunnel. Warning lights flashed overhead. The metal walls were covered in long cables and pipes. Sparks dropped from damaged panels. Kane looked around nervously. "This place looks like it's falling apart." Cora nodded. "After the humans attacked, many systems failed. We must hurry." Suddenly, the shuttle's warning alarm beeped loudly. Cora frowned. No, not now." Kane leaned closer. "What is it?" Cora's voice dropped. "The Enforcer is behind us." A loud crash thundered from the tunnel entrance behind them. Cora checked the rear camera. The Enforcer was running, charging, through the tunnel with terrifying speed. Its huge metal body smashed aside pipes and cables like they were nothing. Kane stared in disbelief. "How is that monster so fast?" Cora shouted. Hold on. She pushed the throttle to maximum. The shuttle shot forward, barely avoiding a thick pipe that had fallen across the tunnel floor. But the enforcer kept coming. Their route map beeped again. Next tunnel leads to the child chamber, Cora said. Get ready. The shuttle dove downward into a wider passage. Ahead, a large pressure door blocked the entrance to the chamber where the children were kept. Cora opened communications. Access override, Cora 79, open door. For a moment nothing happened. Then the pressure door slid open with a heavy rumble. Cora flew the shuttle into the large chamber and landed roughly, the shuttle skidding across the floor. She shut off the engine and jumped out. Kane followed her. The chamber was quiet. Rows of stasis tubes stood in perfect lines. Soft blue lights glowed under each one. Inside every tube was a child. Human children. Sleeping. Unmoving. Peaceful yet trapped. Kane's breath caught in his throat. There are so many. He whispered, voice shaking. Lila. My daughter, where are you? He ran between the tubes, wiping the foggy glass on each one, searching desperately. Cora went to the control panel. We don't have long. I will start the system override. It will wake them, but slowly. Kane looked at her. Do it. Cora pressed several commands. The lights in the chamber changed from blue to soft white. Machines hummed loudly. One by one the tubes released locks with quiet pops. The children's heart monitors beeped. They were waking. Just then, boom. The main door exploded.